mean, I was pretty much born into the church. You know, my mom made sure we were in church, Sunday school, Awana program, youth group. I did all that, and I always remember, you know, really believing in God, and really at a young age I had a desire to serve God. I really thought that was important. But what I didn't really get, and whatever took place, was a relationship with Jesus. And I remember the day that I really, truly walked away from God at that point in my life was something that was really important to me as a young man, was my sexual purity. And I gave that up, and I walked away from God. And I remember thinking to myself, this, you know, I really did just turn away from God with this. And that was something that that's where I just turned away. I went off to college. I joined a fraternity. You know, I drank excessively. I turned to drugs and got mixed up into drugs, and got introduced to pornography. And that's an ugly, deceptive thing that people just don't realize. You know, to me, at that time in my life, I just thought it was harmless. It was nothing. But it's something that destroys you. I was so depressed that I started considering suicide, and the only reason I didn't was because I knew my parents loved me, and I knew I couldn't do that to them. So through a process, I quit college, I came back home, I joined the Army, and things were looking good. You know, I was getting my life together. You know, I was starting to be in control, supposedly, and you know, things were distracted. My life was busy, and then I met Ashley, and you know, and at that point in my life, you know, she was a good Christian girl. You know, she had good values, she had her head on straight, very oriented, and I fooled her, basically. I mean, I really did. She thought I was a Christian. I mean, I wasn't out there, you know, taking any lives for the kingdom, but I was a Christian. I was cultural Christianity. You know, I walked into church with my eyes glazed over, didn't hear anything the preacher was saying, never read my Bible, never really prayed unless it was a selfish reason. I thought when I married Ashley, you know, everything would be fixed. I would never have any desire to go back to pornography. I would never have any desire to drink, because I wouldn't need those things. Ashley would fulfill all those things. And while she is an awesome person, and one of the biggest ways God ever blessed me, that is still not God. And He's the only one that can fill us inside and make us feel whole. And so that started destroying our relationship, because I was still angry, and I still felt lonely, and I was confused, and I was angry at God. Why would this not be what you want for me? I mean, this was a long process. It was a couple years of deployments and fights and arguments, and I was starting to come back. After the second deployment, my sisters were giving me some books, and I was trying to get right with God again, you know, trying to make myself right so I could live up to God's expectations. And I read Crazy Love by Francis Chan. I read that book the first time, and I was mad. I remember thinking, this is ridiculous. These people who have these relationships with Jesus, these people who, it's not real, they're just faking it. That can't be true. They can't really be wanting to praise Jesus. They can't be really wanting to throw their hands up in worship and really walk this thing out. I didn't believe it. And I read the book again, and God really worked on my heart during that process. And I realized there were some things I needed to change. And again, I still didn't take it from the right angle. So one night, I realized, you know, I had to stop drinking because it was destroying my marriage. It was affecting my life. So I told God, I said, God, I'm going to quit drinking. I'm going to quit. I promise I'll quit drinking. And I quit for a little bit, a couple weeks, 3 weeks. And then one night, I had a couple beers. And I didn't get drunk, but I was just destroyed in that moment. It was that cycle again. It was that process of me making myself right and then getting knocked off by the enemy, and the enemy telling me, you can't do it. And this one time, I instead of doing that and just going in and letting everything destroy itself again, I just fell on my knees and I prayed. And I said, God, I know you're real, and I know you sent Jesus, and I cannot do this on my own. I can't do it, and I want to live for you, and I do. I submit myself to you. And it's something that I just can't put into words. I was in my living room, and God floored me. And I just felt Him put His arms around me and just tell me, see, I told you, that's all you needed to do was just come back to me. Just let me take control of your life. Just let me. This is what grace is. You've already been forgiven. You were forgiven before you even asked for it. And now that lifestyle of just want to glorify God and live for Jesus, it's real, it's reality. I can't explain it, it's nothing I've ever done. And some of the things I've said are really hard to say, you know, pornography, alcoholism, abusive verbally to my wife, telling her to divorce me. That's tough to say, but I can say that because it's not about me. It's what Jesus has done in my life. It's not who I am anymore. I'm something totally new. And I'm on fire. I mean, I just burn for Jesus. I want you to know Him. I want others to know Him.